Pleasant day to you. And I do mean that. I mean, I could offer you unpleasant possibilities, but why not give you the pleasant day? To you that it is. The year, by the way, was 1909. 1909, which from your experience you probably know it was not a particularly enlightened time in the United States of America. Segregation was rampant. The Ku Klux Klan walked freely the streets of the South without any retribution. Not particularly what you would call a group of people who were free of superstition or free of prejudice. But in 1909, an organization was started called the NAACP, National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Now, you may object to the word colored or whatever, but they didn't. That's the term they decided to go with for their organization. Now, here's the fascinating thing. Even though we both have agreed that 1909 was not a particularly enlightened time, you know what? Nobody came along and said, it should be the NAAAP, the National Association for the Advancement of All People. No jerks came along and decided they would make an issue over a terminology, and in so doing actually espouse a certain amount of ignorance that they may have been unaware of. Isn't that amazing? Yet when BLM comes along, Black Lives Matter, suddenly it has to be all lives matter, or blue lives matter, or our lives matter. We have to interrupt that organization's naming of their group to focus on a particular issue by inserting our opinion. I will tell you bluntly this day, there is much less prejudice and much less bigotry in America than there was in 1909. Isn't that good news? But I also will tell you, there is much more childishness in America than there was in 1909. And the amount of childishness that's in this country is what causes the bigotry and prejudice to seem so prevalent. Because the difference between childish, which we don't want to be, and childlike, which has its charm, is that childish says this: what's in it for me? Childlike says, what's in it? Childish is, what's in it for me? Because if there's nothing in it for me, I'm just going to throw a fit. While childlike says, what's in it? I'm just curious. I don't think there's anything wrong with walking up to BLM and saying, Black Lives Matter. Now, the reason you chose that was so I'll know for future reference, because my curiosity is there. But to just childishly challenge people because you don't particularly like the way something sounds, not taking into consideration any of their journey or any of their substance or any of their mission, shows you that this country has just become more and more childish. And it's this childish nature that we're trying to address with all these things we're discussing. You and me getting together, we're just chatting about stuff. None of us are geniuses. None of us are perfect. We're just chatting about the way things could be. And one of the things we know is we do not want to be childish. We want to be childlike. We don't want to say, what's in it for me? Just to have that delightful, sparkling question. Well, what's in that? What? I tasted that. And what'd you do to make that childlike quality that God certainly loves in human beings? And it's the reason he made us the way we are, with our great curiosity and our great desire to find out things. So in 1909, the NAACP felt the freedom to start the organization without somebody coming along saying, well, it should be the National Association for the Advancement of All People. Otherwise, it's not all-encompassing. So you black people over there and you brown people, you need to understand that if you don't include all us white people in everything you do, you ever think sometimes they just like to get away from us long enough to name an organization? We are childish, on the journey to find childlike. It'd be well worth it.